What is happening, everybody? Welcome back. Hey, did you know that racial discrimination is an American value? I'm not the one making that claim. I don't actually agree with it, but House Minority Leader Hakeem Jefferies seems to think so. Jefferies made this comment during a speech. I'm not really sure where, but we do have video of it, so let's break it down a little bit as we go. Let's start with just the claim in and of itself.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion are American values.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Okay, the claim itself is kind of absurd when you understand what DEI is really about, especially the word equity. We'll get into that in a little while. But he makes the claim, but let's, maybe he has something else to say. Let's play the video a little bit more.
Perhaps I can explain.
Oh, please do explain.
The motto of the United States of America is E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. That's diversity.
Now, okay, the E pluribus unum bit, that's interesting. It's also complete and total bullshit. All right. Yes, E pluribus unum means out of many, one. But it was a reference to the fact that you had 13 distinct colonies who united to form a single nation. It is not some claim about diversity. And on the face of it, it's absolutely absurd because if it was, why was there still slavery? I mean, I live in the South. We know we've got plenty of history around here showing slavery lasted, almost another, 80 years. So I'm finding it a little hard to swallow that, this was really about diversity. Nope. This is just revisionist history. All right. It's, hey, I can manipulate this to try to make a political point I want to make, and it'll fool the originalists, except for the fact that we actually know what the fucking phrase means. If that was all he had, this would be a nothing. I mean, we're only, a few minutes into this video. There's not it's a stupid thing from Hakeem Jefferies, who says stupid things. It's just kind of what he does. In fairness, he's House Minority Leader. That goes with the job. But, he followed it up with this about the 14th Amendment.
The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, one of the most important amendments in our country, provides equal protection under the law. That's equity.
Now, he's absolutely right that the 14th Amendment is about equal protection. The problem he has is that DEI isn't about equal protection. See, DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion, not equality. And that's an important point because you see, equity is really about equality of outcome versus equality of opportunity. See, the way you do this is you actually restrict opportunities for some people, so you create opportunities for others that you've decided are disadvantaged, thereby creating an uneven playing field so that, in theory, everybody will reach the same pinnacle. Okay, we'll get more into some of this other stuff here in a minute. But Jefferies then goes on and talks about the Pledge of Allegiance.
In this country, we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, a flag that we just presented to the new president and vice president. And in that pledge, we promise one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. ALL. That's inclusion. Not complicated. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are American values.
Of all the takes I've heard, that's certainly one of them. First, I got to ask Representative Jefferies, answer me this, riddle me this, if you will. How is denying opportunity to certain people because they just happen to be part of a particular race or gender or, sexual orientation, liberty and justice for all? Because see, DEI is really nothing more than reversing the paradigm that every decent person decries. It's not, we're going to put an end to the discriminatory practices. It's, these other people didn't benefit from discrimination, and these people did. So now we're going to flip it so the people who benefited don't anymore, and the people they took a shit on now get to take a shit on them. There's a thing about how two wrongs don't make a right. You know, it was something I was taught when I was really little. Maybe it was just my upbringing, but, you know, it just seems kind of bullshit.
It's about economic opportunity. It's about merit for everyone.
It's about merit for everyone. But when you create an unequal opportunity at the very baseline, where you favor certain people over others due to immutable characteristics that don't actually, determine anything in and of itself. Those immutable characteristics that, like, for example, someone's race or their sex, or characteristics that you guys claim are immutable, such as gender orientation, their gender identity. How is that really about merit for all? Because see, when you've got people who are really good at their job, but they can't get promoted because they're a white dude. And the DEI initiatives require, that they give preferential treatment to this other person who may not be quite as good at their job, but they're close enough and they meet the DEI score. How's that merit for all? Again, riddle me that. See, equity, again, is not equality of opportunity, it's equality of outcome. It's from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. Unfortunately, it's their perceived need. For example, someone who is a black man who has been raised with wealth and privilege is more likely to get benefit from a DEI system than a poor white kid from a trailer park in rural Arkansas would. That's, who really had the privileged life? One would argue, easily be able to argue that the wealthy black man, had a much easier life than the other. But DEI ignores that because historically, white people have been favored over black people. Now, that was absolute bullshit then, and flipping the script is just absolute bullshit now. Equity requires discrimination. It doesn't undermine it, right? Like I said, it just changes the players around. And you're not making that go away simply by, you're not going to make anyone feel better and improve race relations by just completely ignoring the fact that you've now flipped the script. Jefferies is trying to make the claim that DEI is an American value, but he really doesn't make that case. He completely misrepresents literally everything from DEI itself to the 14th Amendment to the United States motto to the Pledge of Allegiance and what it actually means and how that applies to DEI. Why? Because he's trying to sell it. It's this typical, Martin Bailey kind of argument where this is just, woke is empathy. DEI is just about fairness and equality. And then when you really look at it, it's not, right? They create this position that should be very easy to engender agreement across all party lines. What they're ignoring is that this is never the issue. The idea of equality is not the issue. The idea of empathy is never the issue. Nobody has an issue with empathy. Nobody has an issue with equality. What we have an issue with is an unequal approach to achieving equality at the end of things, right? That's what he's leaving out. He's leaving out the Marxist nature of it, that it is about taking from others to give to others simply because you believe these other people need it more, right? That's what we're looking at. And that is inherently wrong. That is not an American value. That was a Soviet value. That's a communist value. Now, I'm sure Jefferies would argue that, no, he's not a communist. And it's entirely possible that economically he's not. But this is cultural Marxism. That's what we're looking at here. It is very much cultural Marxism. And anyone with eyes can see that as long as they understand the basic premise of taking from some to give to others on a perceived need, based on that perceived need. That's it. That's what it is. That's the end game. Jefferies made a claim. It was bold. It was a bold claim, very bold claim. And his arguments. I've smelled actual bullshit that instincts about it. Just saying. So you know what though? Tell me what you think. I want to know what you think about this. Am I off base? Is Jefferies actually talking absolute sense, or is it worse than I think? Am I missing massive parts of this argument and why this argument's absolute BS. Put it down in the comments. I want to know. And if you made it this far, do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell and all that jazz. And I'll catch you all next time.